We'll go ahead and get started on Jasmuheen's book, Breatharian Pathways, Memories and Motivations. And of course, all these talks are on our playlist on YouTube. It is called Pranic Pages. So you can check out that playlist called Pranic Pages right after we say this. Thank you so much for being. So blessings, let's begin. Natural disasters and the potential food shortage crisis. In early 2011, my home state of Queensland was declared a disaster area as 80% was affected by fierce flooding. In many places, people scrambled in shops as their fear forced them into panic buying, which then emptied the shop so that others went hungry or were denied essential supplies. My friends told me that to see people fighting over a loaf of bread was such a sad thing to witness. How relaxed we would all be on the food shortage crisis level if we could truly be nourished by prana. How free would we feel if we knew we did not need to take physical food to be healthy, and that in fact our health, vitality, and strength actually improve on a microcosmic food regime? How good would we feel knowing that we can easily and substantially reduce our carbon footprint by being more dependent on a limitless, easy to access resource that everyone has within? That is there regardless of our religious ideology. To many, these have become questions of great interest, and so the facts of this global impact are shared in the Prana Program Manual and also our much earlier Ambassadors of Light book. Compassionate action. During our January-February 2011 floods, as some struggled in local shopping centers over supplies, a much larger contingent of people, after the floods subsided, were soon working side by side with strangers until they felt like true friends as streets were cleaned and houses were emptied and water was mopped up, as other teams searched for bodies, lost people, and more. Throughout this time, compassionate hearts came together in such a display of unity that made many Australians proud. Pranic living is also an act of compassion to ourselves and others in our world, as we tend to operate in the freer harmonic of understanding true interdependence with the cosmic flows and also Mother Nature. The Dalai Lama often talks about the power of compassion and how it is needed to unify our world and bring it into peace. And in his book, My Spiritual Autobiography, he writes, "In the final analysis, humanity is one, and our only home is this little planet. If we want to protect it, each one of us has to experience universal altruism. Only this feeling will eliminate the selfish motives that impel people to take advantage of each other. With a sincere and open heart, we are naturally confident and sure of ourselves, and we have nothing to fear from others." In this book, he also writes, "According to my own experience, the highest level of inner calm comes from the development of love and compassion. The more concerned we are with the happiness of others, the more we increase our own well-being. Some people are unmoved by the fact that every 2 seconds, a child dies of hunger-related diseases. I am not one of them. My personal journey with this prana as physical food reality began lifetimes ago, after witnessing my loved ones die of starvation, and then, with great compassion, asking how this could be avoided. confusion, hurt, anger, disbelief, chaos, and energy storms still continue to rage around us now. All the time, always occurring somewhere on our earth, these energy storms come in the form of political riots, bombings, cancers, and disease, earth changes, and more. Yet we are here to learn and grow, to forgive, and then move on when we are tired of the struggle of life. And when we tire of the struggle, we eventually surrender, seek to know more, and become open to develop better systems of operation. Some people are here also to learn about the power of compassion and focused attention, how the universe really does deliver to our door the things that we hold dear in our heart, while others need to see how well things are supported cosmically if their release and the manifestation of their dreaming will benefit an evolving world. We all have so many stories that we have gained through so many life cycles, and in these pages I have shared some of mine in an attempt to answer the question of the why and when, and to also set the record straighter, if we can, on what has been reported in the media, as well as taking this opportunity to update those familiar with our work. It is also helpful to remember that everything we experience is just a reflection of our own consciousness, and life can be as simple or as complicated as we wish. Self-sovereignty and the path of the bodhisattva just make it all more enjoyable. I am now in my 55th year in this world, and it is peaceful to know that the divine force exists within me, as I discovered so powerfully during my first real meditation in the early 1970s. As this divine force flooded through me, gushing up from somewhere deep within me, like the most loving fountain of creativity and youth, I found then that it could feed me via its emanations. In its strong presence, I am never hungry, but if its presence weakens within me, then my human hungers rise again. Consuming physical food can be fun, but so is living on prana and being free from the need to take physical food at all, or to find that we can consume it just for pleasure. It is fun to then go beyond all of this again and exist in those perfect streams of nourishment that can harmonize us all. We have entered into a point in evolution now where we may also wish to ask, do our personal energy emanations now enhance the global pulse? And does the global pulse enhance the universal? And can this blending be refined so that our experience here individually and collectively is one of, thank you, this is great, rather than, what on earth is going on? Type of words that we often hear as we watch the devastation taking place on earth around our economic, employment, environmental, and climate systems. Many say that we need a new system of operation, one that takes care of the people in need in our world. A system that does it with compassion and understanding, that comes from clear thought and commitment, and also a loving, pure heart. As we all know, it begins with us, how we interact with others, and whether our energy field on earth enhances the whole. Plus, of course, what lessons we have come to learn. While really nourishing each other in all the ways that we can, is the current theme for my personal and also global family life. It is not the focus of everyone, for we all do have different lessons and visions. Still, to be able to truly mix and meld and blend and share and enjoy all the ways of being together with those that we love, to be open to good communication, constructive adjustments, to share higher visions of a peace-filled, happy personal life and world, or some other dreaming that is good for the whole. Still, all of this is worthy of our attention, as it can bond, nourish, and unify us in very positive ways. To also hold a clear vision that we can build on by being personally responsible as the masters we are for all that we emit, our carbon footprint, and our etheric energy radiations and imprints. This too is worthy of our focus and time. Having understood a little more of the operational flows of both universal law and the higher light science, right now my main program and intention is that everything about my beingness enhances this world, and everything about this world enhances my beingness. This program is actually a key to huge change, a cosmic key code that can begin the magnetization of our species into another realm that will feed us all in ways as yet unimagined, just as I could never have envisioned where the prana as nourishment path would lead me. The Yogi's Cave. February to March 2011. It is late February, and I am about to return to the Yogi's Cave in Chiang Mai, Thailand, to hold another darkroom retreat, with a group of about 40 people coming from 14 different countries. The pull to return is so strong as I ride a wave of grace that is calling me to be still and enjoy all that the darkroom retreat can offer. As usual, I have recently been steeped in the energy of intense creativity, downloading the pathways of peace and getting these ready for release. Upon the global stage during my tour time this year, now and then, my children mention the word workaholic, and I get a sense to take time out. The best way for me to do this is to enter the Yogi's Cave. That space where we can sit back, be still, and enjoy deep solitude and silence. It is also a place to be with other like-minded yogis who come from all over the world to share in this mutually enhancing experience. I love stepping into this space to work with the group to increase their pranic flows, to personally take little or no fluid, to see no external images or light, to move silently and zen-like through a pitch black space. All of this is strangely rewarding on so many levels as our body uses its energy flows more effectively to tune us deeply and deeper within the inner planes. I also know of no other practice that can take me so deep, so fast. To unhook from technology and the daily manifestation of the creative process is necessary at times. To be able to step back, assess everything with a detached eye, to be able to spend time deepening our mind-body-spirit connections, to be able to have endless time to meditate and listen to sacred music, to be able to enter deeply into the dreaming and find the visions clear, the messages sound, and appropriate in both clarity and content. All of this is food for the soul. To also be able to be Zen-like, then Zen, as our group mixes, melds, blends, merges, and opens inner plane doors. To then discover or return to pathways so peaceful, so insightful, and so supportive. All of this is such an type of restful journey of surrender, a song from my own soul right now. With so many now coming back to this dark room space for the second and even third time, it seems that others also now agree on the benefits of entering that deep yogi cave-like space that dark room can provide. It is also the only in-depth training that we do on pranic nourishment, for we have long abandoned the 21-day process initiation that many still hold dear. As we increase our chi flows, we seem to also increase our creativity levels. And while I love the creative process, I also know that it also never ends, and so we all soon learn to deal with the constant downloading of creative flows in a more balanced and healthy way. True service from the heart, as we fulfill our life purpose, can be so intoxicating that it can become too easy to forget about the rest of our life. For decades, we have all been learning, growing, moving on, then learning, growing, and moving on, as there is always something in life to consume us, some paradigm or game in which we can play. We spend our time and energy in countless ways supporting our growing, learning, and moving on process, yet all of it is designed to expand our consciousness as it teaches us to go beyond external things and identify instead with that which is truth for our soul. Over the past few months, I have found myself magnetizing the teachings of the Dalai Lama as he prepares now to also move on. In his book, Becoming Enlightened, the Dalai Lama wrote that true happiness and freedom from suffering can only be realized from a broad outlook, and it cannot be seen from a narrow perspective. He also states the way to rise to a higher level of spiritual practice is to develop altruism to the point where seeking enlightenment in order to serve others more effectively becomes your inner spontaneous motivation for everything you do. And this is another gift that the silence and solitude of the yogi's cave can provide, the time to assess life and to change our perspective. In the dark of the yogi's cave, we look beyond. We consolidate, we recognize, we reweave, we blend deeper with the pure essence of our own being. We open and relax more, and hence a potentially fruitful time is had by all. I say potentially, as our attitude and perceptions always govern our experiences, especially in the darkness of Yogi's cave where only the inner light can shine. With 11 days and 11 nights in absolute darkness, and with so many bodies fasting or adjusting to live purely on the pranic flows, time spent in dark room allows us also to go beyond our personal day-to-day realities and move into the global paradigms to assess our service agendas and receive clear guidance, and to develop altruism in a deeper way by combining group energies to work via the inner planes. As usual, with all of our retreats, we attend to personal, global, and universal harmonics, as altruism is also food for the soul. The sage Tsongkhapa said in his work, Great Treatise on the Stages of the Path, altruism is a source of goodness for yourself and others. Medicine alleviating all troubles, the great path traveled by the wise. Nourishment for all who see, hear, remember, and contact it. Possessing great efficacy for advancing others' welfare. Through it, you indirectly achieve your own interests in full. Wow, what a quote. Another great sage, Nagarjuna wrote in his work, precious garland of advice. The altruistic stay for a limitless time in the world. For limitless beings, they seek the limitless qualities of enlightenment and perform limitless virtuous actions. Wow. Buddha once said, if whatever merit there is in altruistic intention to become enlightened had form, it would fill the entire expanse of the sky and then exceed it. That reminds me of a quote, I think it's by an author named Hafiz. Hafiz said, and I first heard this from Dr. Wayne Dyer. He said, after all this time, after all these years, the sun never says to the earth, you owe me. And to see a light like that, or to see a love like that, it lights up the whole sky. So that put it into perspective for me when it came to altruism, that the sun never says to the earth, you owe me. And that with a love like that, it lights up the whole sky, the sun. It just comes out and shines every day. It shines on you regardless. It doesn't matter if you're a good or a bad person. It doesn't matter your past. It doesn't matter your denomination, your religion, your ethnicity. It doesn't matter. The sun shines on you anyway. You're going to get that light anyway. So I strive to be like the sun and rise every day and do anything that I can to shine on somebody and let them know that the light is within them as well. I feel like that's my purpose here. Universal altruism is the path of the bodhisattva and the only path that holds my personal interest right now. So I find it strange when people try to classify me only as the woman who says she doesn't eat. Which is, of course, a much too narrow path to be labeled with. In his book, My Spiritual Autobiography, His Holiness the Dalai Lama writes on living as a bodhisattva. As for my personal religious practice, I try to live my life by following what I call the bodhisattva ideal. In Buddhist conception, a bodhisattva is a being who is engaged on the path toward Buddhahood and is completely devoted to helping sentient beings liberate themselves from suffering. The word bodhisattva is easier to understand if the two terms that make it up, bodhi and sattva, are translated separately. Bodhi stands for the wisdom that understands the ultimate nature of reality, and sattva is a person motivated by universal compassion. So the bodhisattva ideal amounts to an aspiration to practice infinite compassion with infinite wisdom. I love the yogi's cave time, and after this retreat, I will have enjoyed nearly 80 days of darkroom experience. Wow. Can you imagine 80 days in total darkness? Incredible. This is not much time compared to what the Kogi and Arhuaco Mamas shaman of Colombia do as part of their shamanic training. Some spend up to 36 years in the dark, only coming out from their cave-like hut at night to enjoy the moonlight. Wow. Whoa. That is gnarly. 36 years in darkness, coming out of their cave at night to enjoy the moonlight. That is trippy. I'd be tripping. You'd be tripping. That's the natural DMT right there. Some spend, From birth, tuned children are selected to go into special huts where their mothers visit to feed them and bathe them for the first few years. After this, they are guided by highly skilled shaman. Nourished by a simple diet, they are soon trained by older mamos to read the global and universal energy currents, plus those of people around them. They are also trained to read and fine-tune the currents within themselves, and to respect and understand the purpose of every living creature in creation. Many become seers or healers, clairaudient sensitives, managing to maintain their awareness of Source and the Divine Mother laws, which they cherish and live by, because of their yogi shaman cave-like existence. Now, if you don't know that word clairaudient, it's like seeing, like clear seeing, clairaudient, or no, not seeing, hearing, sorry. Clairaudient is clear hearing, clairvoyance, I see things, clairsentience, I feel things, and claircognizance, I know things. So yeah, you've heard of clairvoyance, but clairaudience deals with hearing. These special Mamo huts are the yogi's cave, are dark rooms of today, and they make a great place for intensive, highly specialized training, especially in the Breatharian pathways reality. March 1, 2011. I sit in a tiny cafe shop in Doi Saket, Chiang Mai, writing in my journal and feeling overwhelmed with love and appreciation. To be able to take this time each year and go into my yogi's cave, as I've come to call the dark room, is such a blessing for me. The creative flows that I have been working with these last 17 years, since living on prana, have been so consistent in their abundance of insight and information that bringing it all into physical plane manifestation is a full-time job. Books, audio, music, poems, art. The flows are intense in their delivery, so it is so good to step back, go into deep silence and solitude, and enjoy the peace that comes from the darkroom space. Thailand herself is also a beautiful country to be in. Her people are gentle and kind, quick to smile and lovingly accept the constant stream of people who come to enjoy this land. Despite political upheavals, tourism continues as people are drawn to be in the harmonic wave that Thailand offers with its Buddhist beat. While it is true that some also come for the sex trade, others come instead just to enjoy the spirit of this ancient land. Most of our people arrived late yesterday, and so we'll gather this afternoon. We will gather this afternoon for orientation and introduction time as we invite all to find the Zen master within, to slow every movement, every breath right down, to shut down external vision and enhance our inner vision, to dream deep and go beyond time, to meditate until our thirst for meditation is complete. No longer bound by the time-constrained duties of the outer world, to just be in silence and solitude. All of this the dark room offers, and in all of this, many spirits find a deeper joy. Day 5 to 6, March 2011. Our group is settling in to a more relaxed rhythm as more surrender into the rhythms that are here. Most are powering along, yet a few still struggle with their minds. 264 continual hours, 11 days and 11 nights of absolute darkness can take their toll as we find ourselves confronted by ourselves. Yet there comes a point in the energy fields within an individual and a group when a new rhythm emerges as we make friends with the darkness and all that it contains to really appreciate what can unfold. Breakthroughs come with surrender and an open-hearted willingness to go beyond potential boredom, to go beyond the monkey mind and its desire for entertainment, to go beyond our limiting ideas of what a day should hold, to go beyond the busyness mentality and allow ourselves to be in that space of true Zen via the mastery of mind and perceptions. To learn to be fully present of each moment. To make friends with the darkness and sense it as the Divine Mother's womb of nourishing love. And to go beyond all that arises to challenge us. Some people find nighttime the hardest as they lose the need to sleep here. With no energy needed for digestion, the body begins to get so energized, especially with our twice daily meditations, which are designed to open all to more nourishing rhythms. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine you'd be flowing on energy for sure. As the days unfold, our relationship with time changes drastically, and suddenly it feels as if there is not enough time in each day. As we take longer and longer periods in meditation and caring for the body temple via our various exercise routines and to contemplate life in general. Now I want to take a quick pause here because this reminds me so much of one of my mentors, Elitam Elamine. I was doing a retreat with him one time. I've done several with him. And I recall he was saying one time to me, away from everybody else, like, Jerome, it's like there's not enough time in the day. I was like, what do you do with all the energy? You know, you're up all day and then you're pretty much up all night, you know. You might knock out for maybe 1 to 2 hours and then you're back up and then you're fully energized. And I'm like, what do you do with it all? He's like, Jerome, some days it feels like there's not enough time. I'm like, what? He's like, time is flowing. It's like time just going. And he said, sometimes, you know, it's like time gets distorted. He said, you'll be glad, you'll thank yourself for being consistent because a day can be long, but a decade goes like that. He said, I've been on this journey for 2 decades, and I'm so thankful I was consistent. I'm so thankful I just hung in there. He said, that's why I tell people, just hang in there. It's a fixed fight. You know, you're in the boxing ring, ding, ding, right? It's a fixed fight. He's like, the light always wins in the end. Just hang in there. Just stay to the light. Stay to your practice. Stay to the meditation. That's the foundation. And don't worry about the rest. It'll fall away. The hunger will fall away. The cravings will fall away. The food will fall away. The parasites will fall away. The agony will fall away, right? The pains will fall away. The pleasures will fall away. The desires will fall away. All of that falls away. Stay to the light, right? But he said, Jerome, sometimes it's like there's not enough time. You're doing all sorts of things. You're getting so much more done. You got a lot more energy. You're looking around you, so many people around you, they're eating all kinds of stuff. They're falling out all over the place. Here you are, you're running around, you got all this energy. What do you do? What do you do? Right? So I was like, wow, really? He was like, yeah, man, for real. And the more that I did Qigong, the more I meditated, the more I fasted, the more I exercised, the more I let go, the more I surrendered. That's what it was surrender. Because, you know, the path of the doer says, if I don't swim, I'll drown. That's the path of the doer, right? But that's not Wu Wei. Wu Wei is the effortless action. You're surrendering to the flow of nature. Right? Nature's already going that way. The current, the river is already flowing that way. Why swim upstream if you don't have to? Just ride the waves, right? That's all it is riding the waves. Just doing nothing. And in non-doing, nothing is undone in non-doing. That's Lao Tzu. That's the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu. In non-doing, nothing is left undone. So the doer says, if I don't swim, I'll drown. But the surrendered says, if I don't swim, I'll float. Right? I can just ride the wave. I can just float on this current. It's already going that way anyway. Why fight the tide, the ebb and the flow of the ocean? Why not just synchronize with the motion? Why not just have more love and devotion and let this process be an alchemical potion? Why not just raise my energy quotient, right? It's amazing to see how we can be free when we stop all the doing, all the chewing, and be. Right? Just be. And you're already free. I was like, wow. Could it really be a breath away? Could peace be one breath away? Could bliss be one breath away? Could joy be one breath away? And the universe says, yes. Yes. Just one breath away. It's been waiting on you this entire time to realign, to free the mind, to see the signs in grand design. So that's why there's really no rush. We can take our time. We can say, all is well, it's already fine. And wherever I'm going, it's already mine. Right? Tune into the divine, my friend. It can take 6 to 7 days for a group to come into the one heart, one mind space of natural telepathic communion, where they know what I will say before I say it in a guided meditation, and for them to receive the visions as I do. This is one of my favorite parts, as it is confirmation of a group's harmonics. 11th March 2011. The Darkroom Retreat is a wonderful teacher, as it allows us to find our Zen Master Self and gives people constant opportunities to self-correct. For example, if we do not stay focused on the moment, in the moment, it is so easy to disturb the field of silence that others are enjoying. If we can drop things, bump into things, open or close doors too loudly, and generally be a disruptive presence. With approximately 40 people all living together in absolute darkness. Wow, that's a lot of folks. That's a lot of folks. For these 11 days and 11 nights, we become so much more aware of the communal harmonics. Knowing that people around us may be in deep meditation, we learn to move through space and time, here as the silent witness, aware of every sound and movement. If we walk too fast, again, because we are not fully present and in the now moment, then it is easy to bump into an object or person, both which can easily be avoided by walking very slowly with gentle movements and by staying focused and aware. So many people blaze through life completely unconscious of those around or the impact that their energy emanations and movements have on others. Here, we cannot do that. Here, we have to be fully present, especially in the communal space. Today is our day of complete silence where even I am not speaking. We meet, called by the gong, to exercise, meditate, listen to upbeat or very heart-opening devotional music, and then meditate again. Today, at least, there is music. Now, this is very interesting because when I did my first Pranic retreat, my first ever Breatharian retreat with Athena Starseed and Elitam back in Sherman Oaks, California, literally, that's all we were doing. Now, we weren't in darkroom, we weren't in complete darkness, but every day we got up, we went into the courtyard in the back of the Sound Palace Temple. We did Qigong, we worked with the energy. We exercised, we walked around the block, maybe like a couple miles or so. Everybody was fasting in some form or another. Some people were on liquid. I was one of maybe like 3 or 4 people that were dry the whole time. And then some people were on water. Some people were water fasting. And there was always music playing in the living room. Athena, she always had, it's called the Sound Palace Temple. So she always had these like meditations playing or these chantings or just sounds. And I remember one of them was the the Saraswati mantra, there was the Lakshmi mantra, and she would always have these mantras just playing on repeat in the living room. And you'd walk in there and it'd be like a heavenly space. And we would play music, we'd play drums, I'd play the flute, some people would, be singing, we'd be dancing, and then in the evening we'd have a Breatharian talk, a Pranic talk. So we were just doing the same things every day, but the body started changing over time, just through that repetition. We just stayed on mission, and we all held the vision, and through that repetition, we saw the fruition of our own intuition, of our inner vision that we held together. And every day, it was like it got better and better. Now, I can speak for myself and say, it definitely was transformational. I witnessed in other people as well. There were times where we do Qigong, we were just holding our hands up, standing like a tree, and there were grown women and like grown people in the group, men and women I seen, but sometimes it was the women I seen that were just bawling, like tears, crying, just tears were just coming down their face. They were just releasing. And Ellie Tom would just be standing there just smiling, just, letting them have their moment. He wasn't over there trying to console them like, oh, it's going to be okay. It's going to be like, do you need anything? Are you all right? He was just allowing them to have their release. He just had his hands up just like everybody else. And they're just crying, just tears were just coming. Like, I don't know what the maybe built up emotional energy, trauma, things that have happened that have been locked into our subconscious, locked into the body that we have not released, that we have not relinquished, that we have not given up or purged in the body. It was purging. And it was through Qigong. We were just standing there holding our hands up in the air, and people were purging themselves, emotionally purifying their bodies. And it was amazing to witness. I was just kind of like, just side looking, with the side eye, just kind of like, oh snap, she's really going through it over there. Like, is she all right? You okay? I wanted to, my heart was going out to her, but there was release going on every level during that retreat. And we stayed there for 8 days. And it was just, oh man, I'll always remember. Because after that retreat, it was like I was forever changed. It didn't matter what I did. It didn't matter. It's like the universe was like, Jerome, now. Whether you go back to eating or whether you stay on this path, it doesn't matter. Now you know, without a shadow of a doubt, what is actually keeping you alive. Now you know you are not just that cliche that we always hear, right? I am not a body, I live in a body. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. You felt it on a visceral, on a physical level. Irrefutable evidence in your own body, your own testimony. No one can tell you that you are not the energy that is powering this vessel. that the apple is not giving you life, that the apple juice is not giving you life, that it's the breath. That once the breath is gone, it's done. You've transitioned. For wherever you go after that, the breath. So whatever is obstructing the breath is obstructing the flow of life that is actually keeping you in this existence, in this reality. And I got to feel it. I got to feel it for once in my life. Now you're talking to somebody who, for 28 years, I can't recall going a day. Not a day without solid food. Not one day. Not even half a day. 12 hours, right? In constant digestion mode for decades. And at this retreat, due to the synergy of the group, due to the daily energy work, the daily exercise, the daily talks, the mental reprogramming, the daily walks, I went over 2 weeks without solids and liquids. No calories. And it blew my mind. I was like, what is keeping me alive? How is it that for 28 years of my life, I never knew that I could thrive on energy? Not just survive on energy, thrive. You know how emotional? Do you know how crazy you would seem to the rest of society if you walk out of a retreat like that after 8 days in that pranic frequency, right? You go in dry, you come out dry, you walk in the world and you're like, am I mad? Is this a madhouse? Am I going crazy? So it's something that you can't give somebody that feeling. I can never give somebody the feeling of being without. And all that they hear are just the words out my mouth. But if they don't themselves have the feeling, it's not as revealing. If they themselves don't have the healing, so this is why I continue to do this, and I continue to read these readings from these people who are in these wavelengths and have discovered this energy through riding these waves and these frequencies, because I'm like, wow, if people really understood that the majority of the things that we do every day are not even necessary, how would it change the world? And that's what Jasmuheen is saying here. So, yeah, forgive me. Sometimes I get passionate. Tomorrow is our last day, and so from 9 p.m. tonight till 1:30 p.m. tomorrow, there will be, again, absolute silence. And this time, there will be no music or movement. These last few days, test and stretch the few who have had enough of the darkroom space, making them go deeper again, while giving a gift to those who have fallen in love with this yogic cave by allowing them complete stillness and silence, as if we truly are yogis living deep in a cave inside a mountain. Without distraction of food to digest, these 11 days give the body a chance to rest and utilize its energy differently, as each day people measure the increase in their pranic flow. Some maintain a good weight, losing maybe a kilo. Others begin to feel their ribs, and so they then expend the energy of worry that they are losing more weight than they had hoped. Others love the weight loss and are so happy for the whole cleansing process. Now I want to briefly say that I did lose a lot of weight at the time before my weight stabilized. But it wasn't that I was losing the weight in my body. It was more so that I was losing the waste in my body. Because if I look back, the level of inflammation that I had that was normalized for me, I can see the night and day difference in pictures that I look at myself now. I'm like, wow, I was inflamed in that. Like, I had no idea. Like, it was normal. It was very normal. So what was my normal was actually like inflammation. And I was in a very depressive vibration. Even though on the outside looking in, people couldn't really notice. But on the inside out, I noticed for sure the difference. And oh man, when I was riding those pranic frequencies, the first time when I came from that retreat, my family freaked out. They freaked out. They almost had a conniption. They were going crazy. They were apoplectic. They were going apoplectic. They had a conniption. When they seen what I looked like, they were like, what is happening to our son? His body looks like it's eating itself. But I was feeling the best I'd ever felt. So yeah, I shed a lot of the waste in my body, and I can only imagine that the parasitic organisms, the things that had, used my body as a host for breeding grounds and that I'd been harboring for many years, the mucoid plaque and just the infestation internally. Once that had gone, my mind it was like the shackles had finally separated. The shackles that I didn't even know were there. The invisible chains. Do you know there's a quote, I think it was by Warren Buffett. He said, the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. And when I heard this, I felt that quote on every level. The chains of habit are too light to be felt. You don't even feel them at first. You don't even realize they're there. Until there comes a time when they are too heavy to be broken. You realize it's almost too late. You're in too deep now. Now it's become a ritual. It's become a routine. It's become a habit. It's become an addiction that you didn't even know you had. And what addiction could be worse than an addiction that we don't even know it's an addiction? We don't even realize it. What could be worse? So for years I was addicted. For years I was afflicted. For years I was restricted already. People say, isn't it hard? Isn't it hard to live without food? Like, isn't that hard? Like, you gotta be so disciplined. That's gotta be tough. I'm like, no. All that constipation, all that frustration, right? All that indigestion, all that upset stomach, those headaches, those migraines. Come on, that was hard. That was hard. Being sick is tough. Being pranic is easy. Come on now. It's easy. Being sick, being bedridden, having a whole day go by while you're in the bed recovering with an ice pack on your head and chicken noodle soup. That's what it was back in the day. We were having chicken noodle soup, Campbell's, soup for the soul, right? Soup for the soul, that's what we called it. That's hard. Being pranic is easy, right? It's easy. It's almost, you don't even realize how high your energy is until you go back. Until you take a step back into the density, into the dense frequencies, and you go eat something again, or you go have something again, or you think, oh, this will be harmless. Then you realize, wow, I was way up there. I had no idea. I was actually up there. I thought I was right here. I was up there. Right? So it's the contrast. When we see the difference, that's when we realize. Day to day, we have harmonized the group energy, field, using sound and sacred music, deep meditations, alchemical practices, and more. Adding to this some interdimensional flavors, plus some ancient esoteric blends. I like that. I like that. Interdimensional flavors and some ancient esoteric blends. Okay, Jasmuheen, I see you. To create an energy mix for all to bathe in and receive exactly what they need. Personally, I love it, and so it seems do many, as this retreat is now booked out years in advance. Yeah, I've heard people talk about going to Jasmuheen's darkroom retreats. They say it's once in a lifetime. Somehow, all around the world, people are called to sit in silence and solitude and connect deeper to the essence of life, allowing it to rise and fill them and free them from all hungers. Once tasted, many come back, while a few feel that one experience is definitely enough. Some dream of food and more food as their emotional body makes its adjustments to living in this space on a little juice or maybe only water. Others go deep in the dreaming, finding themselves in the presence of great beings of light, undergoing intensive instruction about their life purpose and how to fulfill it. People come from all walks of life and all religions, pulled by an inner knowing that this darkroom time will somehow transform their lives. And for those who can surrender, for those who can befriend the dark and relax into each moment, the gifts that await them are endless. As they allow their senses to be heightened so that they can read and influence the subtle energy flows within the matrix of creation. Wow, it's like you become Neo. He's beginning to believe. What's happening? He is the one. Yet darkroom training, like living purely on prana, is not a path for everyone. Still, for those it calls, the journey is well worth the while. Each year that I am in darkroom retreat, I may go for 5 to 8 days without water, but I always find that at some point over this time, my mouth gets quite dry from constantly leading in-depth meditations and discussions. Yeah, I definitely had very dry mouth during that retreat that I was talking about earlier. And actually, my whole tongue turned white. My whole tongue, my entire tongue was white from cover to cover, like the whole surface of my tongue. It was crazy. I was detoxing in crazy ways. As such, I have decided that if this truly is my path, then the not drinking reality needs to occur without any dryness in my mouth. I am not living the life of a silent yogi in the Himalayas. Instead, my service agenda requires me to talk and share, which helps when there is a physical body comfort. The dry mouth reality is obviously something I am still learning to master. While we relax and enjoy these final days in Thailand, an earthquake brings a tsunami to Japan to simulate yet another flow of compassion in our world. Again, there is so much devastation, so much suffering and loss as people are stripped bare, only to unify later and bond in ways previously unimagined. 16 March 2011. Back in Australia, after the retreat is complete, I attend another Cybertron biocybernetics appointment and find that after just 2 weeks of darkness, with only small amounts of water, that my biosystem is healthier than ever before, and that in these 2 weeks, more has been achieved than in the past few months of working with the vibrational medicine system. Once again, I find that it is such a good confirmation for all that we do, a confirmation that proves again the power that a body has to heal and be re-energized when working with fasting, and also the pranic flows. Research to be done. Questions to be asked. I have learned some interesting things these past few decades from pranic living. When we open enough and are ready to receive all the gifts that our own divine nature has to give us, then life comes into a different level of expression that benefits many. To be free from physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual longings and hungers allows us to enjoy a life path of peace that to me surpasses all others. Yet, there are steps that we need to go through in order to gain this type of success. Codes need to be applied of thought, plus the application of intention and heartfelt clarity, plus lifestyle refinement. As discussed in the Pathways of Peace manual, since asking to understand and experience the path of the angels, I have found myself unable to download anything from the matrix of creation except music and poetic insights. In the downloading of this came the 12 pathways of peace, of which pranic living is path 11, and yet it is preceded by many other paths that need attending to. The ability to exist on just prana is a byproduct of a specific rewiring procedure that certain individuals have elected to undergo in life. It takes time, focus, attention, lifestyle awareness, universal law application, plus a drive that for me came from another line in time. Over time, because of meditation and this prana process, I have also learned that we can control what dimensional doors we discover, enter, and enjoy in this matrix of creation. We can also move in and out via what is termed phasing and explore any dimensional flows, yet what we can access in the matrix of creation is a direct reflection of our own consciousness. Now, I love that term phasing. It reminds me of a character from X-Men. If you've ever seen the cartoon X-Men, there was a character named Kitty Pryde. And Kitty Pryde, she used to be able to phase in and out of different objects, different, she could like create a door where there was only walls. She could phase in and out of the walls, and she could also grab somebody's hand and phase them. It was really cool ability. So phasing, exploring dimensional flows. Very interesting. Interdimensional plane travelers. We are all just conscious cells in the body of a supreme energy mix, and so we can easily extend our consciousness back out of the body temple to explore our vast multi-dimensional nature. Now, this is really interesting because in the beginning of this book that we read, Jasmuheen was talking about dematerializing and rematerializing. So there's all these abilities, right, that we get into when we go deeper into meditation, into the pranic flows of higher vibration. She's talking about dematerialization, the ability to dematerialize and rematerialize at will, right? Teleportation, to be able to instantaneously travel without the need to buying plane tickets, right? Without the need to buying train tickets. Instantaneously travel from here to there. And then bilocation, the ability to be in two places at once, right? Where somebody can see you over there and you're also over there. So these abilities they're very fascinating to me. And these abilities, it seems to be unlocked when we explore our vast multidimensional nature. We can also move our mind and awareness to also explore the inner world of the physical body systems, just as the biocybernetic systems can do. In an expanded state of meditative awareness, we can heal, change, and nourish, and do almost anything at all, simply because we are all governed by just a few specific universal laws. These are the law of love, the law of one, and the law of resonance. Hence, it is easy to pump up our chi prana volume levels. Pump up the volume, right? Via our own light body connection in the matrix. I do believe, as if I have been given a great new toy via the biocybernetic system, and so I entered into a most insightful phase, which is still unfolding. As willingly to be rewired and submit ourselves to being a fabulous version of a spirit being in human form is another fun paradigm to dive into. This is a more enjoyable paradigm than the game of suspicion and time spent on. Do Breatharians exist? And or, no, it's all lies. And to instead ask, how does a Breatharian exist? Why is this suddenly being made more public in this world? And exactly how is this possible? Is there a formula that people are using to do this? And if so, what? And what exactly are the benefits to us individually? What are the global and environmental benefits? And also, can we find research dollars to be spent on this? Can we research it all in mutually enhancing ways? What about environmental impact studies of this possibility? Are these worth pursuing? Is this whole paradigm worthy of adding into our education systems so that more people can have freedom of choice regarding the internal and external resource availability of prana, and also being trained to understand access and beneficial usage? Is there also a pragmatic lifestyle package that can be applied to provide this freedom? A lifestyle that is free, that also creates no more religious separation? What is a truly healthy body? What is a truly healthy planet? Also, is a human biosystem naturally immortal if it resonates at a certain frequency level? And if so, what are these levels? The answer to much of the above is yes, yes, yes. These are the areas that we have been researching and sharing over the years. And apart from some challenging media times, I have loved being a part of this new paradigm shift. It has been great to gather around this world with like-minded people whose company and visions can be enjoyed. Of course, it helps when what we are asking to manifest attracts great grace. For when we hold an intention that everything we wish to bring into being enhances all, then we seem to be divinely supported. Once upon a time, in my heart of hearts, I asked to be free from the restriction of needing physical food. And because this reality has so many benefits to our world now, it has been well supported on so many levels. Wow. That's crazy. I did not know that, Jasmuheen. Wow. I actually dedicated a whole chapter in one of my books on that. If you've read my book, Pranic Living Unveiled, I talked about this. Asking to be free from needing physical food. I had no idea that Jasmuheen actually asked for that. Very interesting. Interesting, learning new things. As we always share, pranic living is not a diet. It is an ascension into more refined evolutionary paths on both individual and then global levels. As vast, multi-dimensional beings, we have limitless access to a source of internal nourishment, prana chi, that constantly bubbles champagne-like throughout the matrix of life. I remember her saying that in her meditation. She champagne-like. Her voice is like very, very ethereal. Her voice, Jasmuheen, with that Australian accent. This pranic stream acts as a type of glue to bind our creations and help with our manifestations to bring more grace into our lives. As I have already mentioned, to me, this has been the greatest gift that I have received on this path. Living a life filled with great grace, yet another great gift I have received is experiencing the truth of what Jesus taught, that the kingdom of heaven truly is within. Meditation allows us to go deeper within the inner silence to discover and experience this inner kingdom with its pranic flow, and as we focus upon it, we become immersed within it, and so find ourselves ascended and transformed, increasing our personal, internal, and external chi flow can rid our world of all its hungers and bring about a state of global harmony and permanent peace. And so we offer this as a path of peace. Let us complete with the following poems from our new Pathways of Peace series. Breathers of God. Feeling fit and fabulous, knowing now another path. Fed from an inner house, divine breaths freed at last. Walking in peace on earth, enjoying that bright light swirl, deep union, a slimmer girth, free from food's ancient whirl, from meditation's many years, light, then love, then truth sincere. We find the peace filled inner seer, seeking only to feel much freer. Subtle gifts we find, a sweeter flow of mind, as we soon unwind from the game of time. Yes, breathers of God are rare, to no longer dwell in fear, living in love's path of care, always open to that inner ear, taping into pranic forces, discovery, divine resources, now making other choices, open tuned to other voices. Our inner spirit now rejoices, breath slow, superb discourses. The fields we speak of are endless, we have told. They can be envisaged, every story then sold. And yet there is something pure in this call, as people no longer dance separate at all, more aware of each other, unified in fields, feeling each other via a pulse that is real, sensitive to flavors, aware of love's thrall, clairvoyant, able to be bodiless at call, via a language of light that connects soul to soul, to go beyond words that are old and cold. So much in this channel for all now to see, new ways of being, as resources we free, to be fed by a flavor, a pranic pulse of light, a microcosmic food, so nourishing and bright, to be free of all the hungers deep within me. If you are then too, what next could be? This is what we have long been asking. For pranic living is not about fasting. So much I did feel, and then come to know, a different rhythm, a new way to grow. Subtler somehow, more refined in its beat, freeing us all from the old need to eat. A mental hunger can drive us all. Constant questions that send out a call, that seek a response from within greater fields. When we seek something good, there is always a yield. This field is quantum or virtual, we said, but I call it love, a more divine bed. For its pulse is peaceful, so nourishing there, to rest in its flavor and be free from care. To recharge as well, regenerate too, to be reborn, made whole, feel new. To know in the being what needs to be known, and so be free to rise again. To witness the darkness, yet stand apart, aware of its role in duality's park. To stay in the flavor of this beat from above, to rest in its rhythm, feeling safe and well loved. Jasmuheen. So thank you Thank you so much. We have concluded. Blessings, blessings, blessings to you. Less stressings to you. May all of life's chi be expressing in you. Much love, my friend. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for glistening. If you made it to this end, if you made it here with us, congratulations. My goodness. What a vibration. Eliminating frustration during the world's rotation. A cosmic co-creation. I love it. So blessings to you, my friend. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Keep the grateful, thankful spirit. And check out the website that we have for you for all things pranic living, the energy that is giving. It is called patreon.com/pranic path, with multiple audios, multiple videos, and books just like this for your reading, your viewing, your auditory pleasure. Much love. It is always a treasure. And once again, that website for you is called patreon.com/pranic path. And it's a growing list, a pranic library that is ongoing. The energy is flowing. So much love, my friend. Take care. Stay aware. Stay in tune. Will you see you soon? May the rest of life and the breath of your life be the best of your life. This has been Jerome Shaw on the Pranic Pages. Take care.